Write that down. Inspect what you expect. What does that mean? Does that mean that we accept when somebody gives us an answer about something that's a general answer? How'd it go on that call? That went good. And the manager says, okay, I assume that's good. That means we made some money on the call, right? To an employee, what does that mean? Does it mean we made money? No. It means I got out of the call in about 45 minutes so I get home at 4 o'clock. That was a good call. Right? What do you think is a good call? Is your world on a good call a little different? So you have to peel the onion and inspect what you expect. And when you keep doing this, eventually employees realize that every time I give him a general answer, he's going to peel the onion back on me. So I might as well start doing what when he asks me this question. So at first it's like, hey, how'd the call go today? Pretty good. It was about 45 minutes. She was really happy with us. That's the general answer. How's that sound? How much do you know about this call right now when the employee says that? 45 minutes? I bet we didn't make any money. That's what you're thinking, right? No way. You couldn't have communicated with the customer. You couldn't have diagnosed the problem. You couldn't have even, just take your tools off the truck takes like 15 minutes, right? So you half an hour for the rest of the call. Writing up paperwork takes another 15 minutes. So you had 15 minutes on the call, basically? That's what I'm hearing. You know what I'm saying? But most managers are like, all right, well, I got another call for you. That's it. Rewarding bad behavior. What would the elite service manager do or sales manager do if you heard that 45-minute call?
Send it back.
What?
Send it back.
Let's peel the onion a little bit. What would he say? Not even send it back. First of all, before you assume you don't know. You're not sure if it was a good call or bad call. Who knows? Maybe it was an emergency thing. People only wanted 15 minutes, right? So you can't make an assumption either way. So how do you peel the onion on that? So what kind of question would you ask the employee on that one? 45 minutes? Tell me a little bit about that, right? Like what? What would you want to hear? Anybody? Throw some questions. Brainstorm on this. Yeah, Doug.
I'd like to see the work order.
The work order? How many options did you create? Because how long does it take to create an option sheet? 12 minutes, 15 minutes. So we got 15 minutes to unload our tools and say hi, 15 minutes to write the paperwork up, and then another 12 to 15 minutes to do an option sheet. When did he even diagnose and look at the stuff or anything like that? I'm trying to fit the blocks of time together. I can't figure out how this happened. Would you guys see that something's deficient here? Something's missing on this call? So the confused sales manager just gives them another call. Yeah, okay, cool. Well, I got things I got to do today. I got a lot of paperwork got to look at. I got to look at my reports. I got to download some things. I got a lot of things I got to do. And so those things are what? Are those things primary or secondary, do you feel? They should be secondary. I give a rule for you. I was taught this by a mentor, one of my mentors who was a management expert in the state of Chicago, Illinois, and the guy ran a great business, a pharmaceutical sales business. And he told me, he said, Joe, when it comes to this thing, you have to give options. You can't give people ultimatums, and that's what I live by. And so same with this thing with your service people and your sales people. We have to make sure we give them options. So we got to use the system on them. If you really believe in the system, you're going to use the system to manage people. The same system we use for selling people, the convince me step, the danger line, diagnosing situations, peel the onion back. We have to make sure we do that stuff. Because after a while, when I had that same employee who just said it was good, it took 45 minutes, and she was happy, that was what they say now. Later on, you keep peeling the onion on that employee. What's he going to say when you ask that question again, like 3 months from now, when you've been doing this every single day? He's like, it was a good call. We sold $1,200. I gave her 6 options. He's going to go through the list of things you expect. Her husband John was real happy too. I called him up, so he's going to give you all the information that you want. Why? Because you've been asking him for this information, and you won't let him go unless he gives that information. Make sense? It's your job to hold people accountable. That's what we're talking about here. Now, there's four pillars of service management, and these 4 pillars are extremely important. Remember this. Number 1, we have to have the right people. Now, after I'm done talking, we have with us Sarah Casebeer, who's going to talk about some of that, how to find the right people. What does the right people mean? Well, the right person means that it's somebody who has responsibility. They don't blame other people for when they're not doing good. There's all kinds of stuff. Decisiveness is a very important feature to have in somebody. Somebody who doesn't need the approval of other people. You have to ask questions that say, so what happens when you lose a call? Well, I look at myself and see what I did wrong, because I know my service was worth it. when you interview a job interview, you're asking those kind of questions, right? So you have the right people. Anybody here ever not send somebody to training because you think you got the wrong person maybe to send to a training? Like that, you ever had that one? Then you have to ask yourself, why the hell is this guy actually working for me right now if he's the wrong person to send to a training? If I would be embarrassed to send him to training, or if I know that he couldn't get the training, per se, why am I settling for less? Now, I know Nexstar, one of the best practice groups, what's their slogan right now? 2 words. What's the 2 words? You know what it is? Why settle? You see that? The big message right now is why settle? And that's the same with you guys. Why settle for somebody you can't even send to a training program? So you need to know how to find the right people, right? There's 2 things. There's 2 reasons why people don't send somebody to training. Number 1, they have no faith that the person can learn it. And my question would be, why the hell is he working in your company if he can't learn? That's one thing. So the second thing is that you don't believe in yourself. That if you did train somebody, he's good, but I won't be able to hold him accountable because I don't have the skills of holding people accountable. Could that be true? That he could probably do it, but can I really have the time and effort to make sure he's going to keep this thing going? Because this training takes a lot of money, but it has high rewards too if you keep going, if you do hold people accountable, right? So number 1 pillar, do I have the right people? So every manager, every single day, has to ask these four questions of every employee they see. It should be passed through their mind real quickly because they do it every single day. The 1 pillar, is this person still the right person for my company? You ask yourself this question. This guy's been here for 2 months right now. Knowing what I know now after 2 months, would I hire this guy again if he applied for a job today? If he applied for a job today and told me everything that I just learned in 2 months about this person, would I still hire him? If the answer is no, what should happen? You should go. And again, you can't put yourself at a disadvantage. You have to be constantly hiring more people and finding the right people. If you're looking for the right person, I'll tell you right now, in my experience, it's going to take 50 interviews before you even have one possibility. You're going to go through 50 people before you find one person who looks at this not like a job, but as an opportunity. You can feel the engine, even during the interview, that this guy, I'm feeling like I'm being uplifted. I feel like this guy's going to propel our company. You grab him by the ankle and you hire him because it's like this guy's saying everything the right way. That it's not about what can I do for him. It's what he can do for me. That's what the interview is all about. And you feel like, yes, I can't wait till he starts on Monday. Have you ever hired somebody where you say, oh, geez, I got to train that guy on Monday? I don't even know his name. What's his name again? Was it Jim or James? What was it? And so you're not even familiar with the person you're going to hire. You should be excited about new hires, right? So number 1, do I have the right person? Number 2, has this person been trained? Have I trained the person and onboarded them when they started out? Now, Marco from Coal Services, he'll tell you to go from 6 million to 10 million and to go from now 10 million to 14.8, which they want to do this next year. It takes constant onboarding. As a matter of fact, one of the first live we have 6 live performance coaches that we developed at contractorselling.com. Zach over their place is one of them. First thing an employee does, it says, hey, welcome to the company, and here's your onboarding coach and performance coach, Zach, and he will take care of the process for you. Oh, what do we do? Well, the first thing we do is watch a bunch of videos for 4 hours. If every day for 4 hours, it's video time. Oh, we'll get some popcorn for you too. It's really cool. And guess who's featured? What do you say? 7 hours. So they go 7 hours, and I say 7 hours a day for 5 days straight. It's video time. And Zach doesn't just say, watch these videos, I'm going to take a coffee break. He stays with the guy, answers questions. He literally does a seminar, watching the videos, answering questions that the guy, what does he mean by that? And he'll stop the video and answer the question, because Zach has been to our training program several times. He's come to the program, he knows it. Luskin Clark up here in Los Angeles have a guy, Randy Flowers. Last fall, we started in Denver and ended up in Memphis. What was that, 2 years? Well, last year or 2 years ago, Kevin? 2 years ago. Randy Flowers, they sent the 4 straight total immersions, said he's going to get this stuff. So he was from outside the company. He knew they felt that he could be a good performance coach, hired him. This guy has been influential in growing that company by over 60% over the last 2 years. Crazy. But the bottom line is that Zach starts with the base, so he has to training. Do I train people? What's the result if we don't train people? What happens? More importantly, how are you going to feel about holding people accountable if they've never been trained? This is where the self-esteem of owners takes a big hit. Now you'd say, I got to fire that guy. And then but the little voice in your head is going, but I really never gave him a chance. How would he know how to give 6 options? Never showed him to him. I didn't believe in him enough, or I didn't have time. I was busy doing paperwork or something else, right? How would he know? And now we're like, well, let's go ahead and blow more payroll out for a couple months till we figure out how we're going to do this, right? It's like give him a grand a week, and on top of that, give him his benefits start to kick in. You know, he thinks he's doing a good job because nobody corrected him. Because you couldn't correct him, how could you correct him if you never trained him, right? This is how important. When somebody says, when Mike Cottle says training, and we're done with that, more training, because how can you hold somebody accountable if you've never even told them what they're supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Anybody guilty of not even having an onboarding program at all for a new employee? The onboarding program is ride with another tech who sucks. Some guy who sucks wind. Ride with that guy, he'll show you what not to do. And you should even tell him, whatever you see, do the opposite of that guy. We don't tell him that, though, do we? We just say, hey, ride with Ernie for a while, and I'll get back to you in a couple weeks. I'm busy with insurance and things like that. And the guy, he's thinking, oh, they put me with this guy. It must be the best guy to ride with. It must be the guy, I got to be like this guy. You're producing a clones of dysfunctional service technicians by doing it that way. So I tell you what, you might say, well, onboarding, I don't have time for onboarding, right? Well, I'll tell you what, so training people and onboarding them is a key factor. If you can't train somebody, your self-esteem will take a hit, and that's going to make your business shrink. Why? Because when you have to market yourself and you have to promote yourself, can you do it with bad self-esteem? Can you tell people we're great in our community when you feel like crap, really, internally? What's that message going to turn out like? When you're trying to say we're great, but inside you don't feel great about your company. Is it much harder to market to put together a marketing message about how great we are when inside you feel like crap because I haven't even trained this guy and I got now 3 guys I haven't trained and that's $3,000 a week of payroll and more with the insurance and all the other stuff we got going. It's probably going to turn on the paycheck. It'll turn into probably $5,000 with overtime and things like that. Just blowing $5,000 out the door, and they're not even bringing the same amount that you're paying them. You're paying them $1,000, they're bringing $800. How's that program working for you? You know, ever been there? Unfortunately, how do I know this stuff? I've been there myself. So don't worry, Uncle Joe. I come from where you are. That's how I understand this. How do I know it so clearly? Well, you can't know it as clearly as that unless you've done it before. You failed like I did. So, and that's the reason I'm here for you guys. With the kindness and respect you guys have shown me, I mean, I have a passion for getting this material across to you guys today. And I just can't see you guys going through the same failure that I went through and the pain that my family went through and the suffering of working 14 hours a day, doing everything for my customer I could, and answering phone calls at night and doing everything I need to do to help my employees and help my customers and still being in the red and losing money. My accountant said I was. The funny thing is, my head's just a stupid accountant. I had a cheap accountant. He was saying I was making money. My checking account was like $20,000 in the red. And this guy's saying, oh, yeah, you got a profit of like $8,000. You owe taxes. What? How could that be, right? So that's what happens when you're dysfunctional. Everything is dysfunctional, right? And so you turn it around. So here's some of the things that we did. 1, find the right people. We'll talk about that in the next segment. 2, we're going to talk about training the people. 3, once you train somebody, you got to coach them. You got to. What did Dave Gallagher say from Horizon Services? To do what? Inspect what you expect.